Good morning, YouTube friends and family. Trying to get back on the train here and getting some of these videos out, showing you guys the markets. So someone had requested the Jersey area. We'll take a look at this real quick. This is power only. There's 157 loads. Now, mind you, this area was pretty hard hit by the recent storms. I know there's a lot of trucks that have parked themselves. They just didn't want to be in the mess, and then others are just snowed in altogether. So the rates are going to be, if you're considering making an investment, don't look at these rates. These are kind of a short-term supply and demand peak, and so the rates are going to be much better than typical. But if you're there and you're ready to go, then you're there and you're ready to go, and you could make some of this money. So here we have a team load at almost $3 a mile, 952 miles. For $3,000, you'll make that in 3 days. It's $27.91, but you know what I mean. So there's 849 miles. It'll take you a day to do it, which you'd be hard pressed to get 849 miles done in 23 hours. I don't think you'll do it. I think you'll be late on that. But it pays $2,300, not bad. There's 869 miles. Same thing. They're saying a day in 3 hours. For almost $3 a mile. There's 869 miles at $281 a mile. There's 1539 miles. It's a team load heading down to Dallas, and that's going to the airport. I've been to that particular facility. It's a pretty easy place to get in and out of, and at $328 a mile, that's a decent load. If the weather permits and you can make that run, that's a moneymaker. So there's 849 miles heading down to Georgia. The roads coming down to Georgia are pretty good. I was just in Georgia. I went from Dayton, Ohio, down to Georgia, made a drop. Coming out of Dayton, it was snowing. Cutting across Tennessee, it was snowing pretty good, but the roads were open. Down towards Georgia, all I got was rain. I grabbed a load out of Georgia and came out to North Carolina, and other than a little rain, it's pretty clear. Easy load. So there's a load going down to Florida for $272 a mile. Anyone that's not familiar, if you go to Florida, you're gonna struggle to get out. If you find loads, they're just really, really cheap. Most people end up deadheading up into the Georgia area to grab a load. So there's a team load for $395 a mile. Pays $3,100 for 800 miles. Hard to beat that. There's 727 miles heading out to Indiana. It's a team load for $329 a mile. There's another $318 a mile. $386 a mile for team loads. There's a $425 a mile. Don't know why they want teams, but it's 684 miles for almost $3,000. That's not bad money right there. There's 307 a mile for 743 miles. Not too shabby. $3.19 a mile for 400 miles. Do this load in a day for $1,400. That's the kind of rates we used to do last summer with Amazon. That was kind of typical of the loads we were getting. Maybe not in that area, but just in general. And so there's a load going to California for just under $2 a mile. That sounds cheap, but freight into California is usually cheap because people want that high-paying load coming out. The loads coming out of California aren't great right now, and so $2 a mile heading to California isn't bad. There you have almost $3 a mile heading to Georgia from Jersey. That's not bad money. Do that in a day. If the roads are clear, you'll make a killing on that. There's another load going to Dallas. Almost $4 a mile, so $5,500 for 1,400 miles. They got an issue with their schedule. They think you can make that in 14 hours, and that will hit your performance. If you accept this load and you don't call ROC and get them to correct it right away, that will affect your performance score, and you'll never get them to fix it. I tried on a similar situation, and they don't fix it. It just affects your score. So there's $8 a mile for a 77-mile move. If you're local and you can jump on that, I'd take that. It wouldn't be the only thing I'd want to do all day. I'd try and find something else to make it a nice, juicy day. But, and again, this is rare. It's weather related. They're short trucks. The weather's bad, and so the rates are better than normal. There's $2.72 a mile heading down to Florida. There's a load going to Illinois for almost $3 a mile. They say it'll take you a day and 3 hours to make that loop for $3,000. It's a good deal. There's $4.71 a mile. So in an 8-hour period, you'll do 316 miles for almost $1,500. Not mad at that. That's some good money. There's $2.81 a mile for 869 miles, almost $2,500. Again, guys, this is short term. This will be gone in another week or so, once all the trucks are up and running again and everyone's back in circulation. So there's over $3 a mile heading to Idaho. Don't know why it says it takes 8 days. It could be that's when they'll be able to schedule unloading you. If you live somewhere in between the two, you could pick this load up, go home, rest up. Why does it say it's 2,400 miles? Is it really that far to Idaho? Am I like confusing that? I might have been confusing that with Ohio in my mind. Yeah, so you'll encounter weather. It'll be you're gonna have to chain up and do all that kind of stuff. But I got a buddy that's out that way now, and he's been coming in and out of Washington and Oregon and heading east, and he says it's doable. It's just slow going. So there's another one heading out that way for $8,800. Anyway, so you guys get the picture. The loads are paid much better right now by the mile. There's a shortage of trucks. Some trucks are stranded. Some drivers just don't want to move. A combination of all of it. Plus, with their other locations being shut down, like a lot of your locations in Texas they're just closed, and they've been closed for several days. So a lot of the outbound freight from there didn't leave, which is creating shortages in other places. So they're scrambling to move stuff around. Let's look at, I know a lot of you guys have the curiosity about box trucks. And no matches. That's because they don't provide a box truck. You have to provide your own. So here's some box trucks. 250 miles for $475 at $1.91 a mile. There's 235 at $1.78 a mile. There's 229 for $1.52 a mile. There's 229 for $1.52 a mile. 190 miles for $1.56. 229 a mile for $1.52. There's 172 miles for $170 a mile. The thing you guys need to understand on some of these markets, once the market for box truck grows and more people jump in, the rate goes down. In a newer market where they don't have enough carriers yet, the rate stays better. And so even though you might think with this many loads, the load should pay better, there's probably a whole bunch of carriers that have these. So there's 217 miles at 180 for $390. There's 210 miles at 194 for $409. There's 229 miles at 152. And so you can see, for the most part, these box truck loads, there's one that's breaking the $2 a mile mark. So there's 132 miles for $2 a mile, and it pays $265. But you can see most of these per mile rates are under $2 a mile. And the drawback to these is, if you don't get a load coming back somewhere, you're deadheading back, and so you're under $1 a mile, you know, when you consider your miles all in. I mean, there's an abundance of work, so you wouldn't really struggle to stay busy, but I think at these rates, it's not really a moneymaker, at least not in my opinion. There's another one that's barely over $2 a mile, so 151 miles for $204. There's 212 a mile. And so there's plenty of loads. That's the end of it. There's plenty of loads. You know, all of this is just through Sunday. So I imagine sometime over the weekend, loads will be added to the load board for Monday. So there'll probably be more loads being dumped in there sometime tomorrow. For those of you that are interested in that type of work, that would be the time to check. But that's the Jersey area within a 100-mile radius. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching.